Anakin's gone. I am what remains.
Dark side of the Force is a pathway to many abilities some consider to be unnatural.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of a Sithcast podcast, Star Wars podcast, where we pretty much talk anything, everything Star Wars. I'm your host, PJ Paradox Nerd, alongside my co-host, Sean Solo, and we got a special guest tonight, Joseph, aka Nowhere Collections.
Nowhere.
Yeah, no, that is my collection. Nowhere. It's going nowhere. All I see is my money going nowhere.
Well, it's going in a specific room in your house. That's where it's going.
Well, right now, 2 rooms. So
yeah.
Oh wow.
Well, welcome, Joseph.
Thank you. It's good to be here. It's good to be here. It's good to see you guys. Thanks for having me on, and it's nice to be with you guys on the kind of the year end.
Yes.
I know we've been talking about this for a long time, but haven't been able to make it work. So I'm glad that we could do it tonight.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
It's awesome, and exactly. And what a way to kind of end out the year talking to you and talking Star Wars, and just kind of looking back at things and all the, things that happened throughout the year. So we could definitely reflect. And one of the good things is that I got a chance to meet you in person, and we had a great time at Celebration, and even at San Diego. I just kind of wish in San Diego I wasn't working as much.
Yeah, I know you were occupied at that booth.
Oh, Joe, every time you walk by the booth, I was just like,
I know they were pulling you in all different directions.
I know, but I'm still happy to be able to meet you in person. Hopefully, we could meet up sometime in 2023 and hang out again.
Yeah, I would love to do that. Definitely.
Yeah. So, Joseph, usually in the beginning of the show with any guest, especially if it's their first time, we try to get to know them, try to get to know their love for Star Wars and their collecting habits. So, with that being said, what is your top 3 Star Wars movies of all time?
Oh, geez. Well, that's a tough one. I mean, I would say New Hope, Empire, and Rogue One.
Oh, see, Rogue One. Wow.
Rogue One's moved up in everybody's list.
Those are my favorites. Well, I loved Rogue One when it came out. I have to say, when Disney took over and they started making the movies, I loved Force Awakens and I loved Rogue One. And I would say that those two were right up there, like neck and neck. But then once Last Jedi came out, the entire sequel trilogy just took a nosedive.
Oh yeah, it was done.
And so I lost, that's the problem. Once you see that stuff, you can't unsee it, and it influences your perspective on the prior film. So what I thought was great and had a lot of potential in The Force Awakens, it just, you connect it now with the other 2 movies and the whole thing is just garbage. So Rogue One is really the only one that's left of the Disney movies for me. So I would say those 3. I mean, Jedi is great too, and it was the first Star Wars movie I saw in the theater. But as an adult and looking back with an appreciation for the stories and the way the films were done and the way the stories were told and executed, I'd have to say those are the 3 movies that I would say are my top.
Nice.
Yeah.
I was going to say, even with the sequels, like I really like The Force Awakens. Like you said, there was so much potential for it. And, I had hope for it, but I feel like there was no cohesiveness with the other 2. So I can actually separate The Force Awakens. Like, okay, to me, that's an individual movie. And I just try to ignore the other 2.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, I like when it came out, I saw it 3 times in the theater, Force Awakens. I really loved it. And I got all the, the helmets and the collectibles, and I bought a bunch of the stuff that you remember Prop Shop was doing in the UK. Yeah. I bought a bunch, like the Vader, the melted helmet, and I got Rey's staff, and I got the lightsabers and Chewbacca's bowcaster. Like I was all about it. And then, Last Jedi came out, and I'll never forget. I never go see movies on opening night. I went and I saw that on opening night with a bunch of friends.
Mm-hmm.
And we just literally, when the movie was over, we were just sitting there in silence, staring at each other, thinking,
Right?
what did we just see? Like
Exactly.
that was the most horrible thing. It was, yeah.
Yeah.
And it was unanimous in terms of how we all felt. Everyone, I don't know a single person that liked those films. I'm sure there are people out there, but
when Leia's floating out into space and I'm like, she's going to die. She's in outer space without a respirator. She's dead. No. And she comes back. I'm like, what is going on? It was
you remember that scene from the end of Guardians of the Galaxy 2 when Yondu is coming down with his the umbrella or whatever, and he's like, I'm Mary Poppins, y'all. That's it.
Man. Well, that, at least with the Guardians, it was meant to be like that.
It was
just kind of, it had that humor, but with Star Wars, it was just like, oh, what is this? It
was supposed to be a serious moment, and you're like, that's not going to work.
Yeah. And the sad thing is that, I mean, I lay the blame on that, on those, those films, that one and Rise of Skywalker, on Kathleen Kennedy, Abrams and Rian Johnson, and especially Rian Johnson, and the vitriol I had for him, coming out of that movie. I mean, I was like, I hope somebody shoots him in the face. Like it was bad. But here's the thing: we just watched Glass Onion, Knives Out last night.
How was that?
It was great. And the previous film, it's hard because I hate to say that I like those movies because I know Rian Johnson made them, but I mean, he's good when he does the stuff that he should be doing, not Star Wars, right?
Yeah. And that's what my gripe is that when you're gonna do Star Wars content, you want to employ people that actually love or just know the lore of Star Wars.
Exactly.
And mind you, yes, they're in Marvel, they have directors and producers producers usually Kevin Feige, and he loves Star Wars, so he oversees everything and makes sure, not Star Wars, Marvel, and he oversees everything and makes sure everything is cohesive and is has a continuity with their storyline. Kathleen Kennedy, I don't know what to say about her. She's just like, okay, let's get these like big name producers, directors, and put them in a jar, shake it up, and hopefully something good comes out of it.
That doesn't work that way.
And it doesn't work that way. And
no, I think, unfortunately, and I've said this before on other shows, just because you're good at one thing doesn't necessarily mean that you're good and talented at other things, even in your own field. And we saw this, it's like George Lucas, right? George Lucas is a brilliant creator, and he created a universe and a story, right? But he's not the best director or editor.
Thank you.
No.
He can't execute, right?
He can't write dialogue. We know that.
Yeah. And that's why when he made Star Wars, we know that it was saved in the edit, right? And the other two movies were not made by him, really. Like, Empire was Irving Kershner. And then when he was given the full reins, right, for the prequels with unchecked power, we saw what happened. And the thing with Kathleen Kennedy, I think the same thing applies, right? Kathleen Kennedy was good at what she did all those years. She was a producer, which essentially is so. I mean, I have a cousin who produces films, and I see it. He's like, I don't want to say secretary, right? But he's like a coordinator. He coordinates who's coming, when, where the money's coming from, what's going on, all of that stuff, right? But it doesn't necessarily mean that she's a creative, or that she has creative talent, or that she can oversee an entire, franchise storyline.
Right.
I mean, that's it.
Yeah. And, one thing with Kevin Feige is that he loves Marvel. He knows the ins and outs of Marvel. And when he came aboard and helped start Marvel Studios, he had a vision. This is what I want to do.
Exactly.
But with Kathleen Kennedy, and who knows, it might not be her complete fault. It was like she was told, okay, you need to produce a movie in 2 years. And with that short amount of time frame, she was told what to do. She followed it. Bob Iger, I put a good amount of blame on him. He was like, yeah, because he read like the reviews on the prequels and was like, you know what? We have George Lucas. He has the treatment for 7, 8, 9.
Right.
He got some backlash with the midichlorians, and he seems to be going in that same route with the sequels. Let's not go that way. And that's why, you know, it's all over like YouTube. You can look it up. Like he had an interview with Charlie, I forgot his name, Charlie something. And he was explaining like he had 7, 8, 9 laid out for them. They didn't want to take it. They like he was supposed to be the advisor, you know. And what a job. Like he's not writing, he's not producing, he's not directing. You go to him for any questions.
Yeah. And that's exactly what he's good at.
Yes. And they let him go.
Well, I don't. I mean, maybe it's not all her fault. Maybe it's not all Bob Iger's fault. But the bottom line is when you're
it's all them.
But when you're the captain of the ship, you're taking responsibility. For what's happening. And here's the thing, it wasn't all bad, right? The Force Awakens was a good start, and it had a lot of potential. And the mistake was made where maybe Kathleen Kennedy should have sat Rian Johnson down and said, hey, you're directing this film, but this isn't your film. This is for everyone. So whatever attitude you have about how you want to make it divisive or you want to subvert expectations, you can do that somewhere else. You're working for us. This is the story. This is the vision. This is what Abrams laid out. And this is what you're going to carry forward. Make it happen.
Yeah.
But she didn't do that, which makes it her fault.
Yeah. And I totally agree. And the only problem is that I think they were, you know, kind of taken back when, especially J.J. Abrams, like he was actually working with George Lucas, because there's an interview, and I remember this interview, and it was George and JJ, and George asked him, hey, what about the grandkids? Because that was supposed to be implemented in George Lucas sequel treatment. And JJ was like, no, because you know what it is? He was supposed to get the treatment from George, but he took it back. He was like, you guys are not going to do it, then forget you.
Yeah.
So
the only grandkid you got was Rey, Palpatine's, you know.
That came out of nowhere.
That whole thing is insane. You know, I mean, the thing is that all the issues that people had with The Force Awakens, at least from what I remember, right, with that she was able to, you know, use the Force and she was overpowered and this and that. It could have all been easily explained in the next episode when you find out that Rey was in Luke's school as a child and was taken away and hidden to save her from Kylo and save her from the Purge. And she could have still been a nobody, right?
Yeah.
But, you know, there are these little things, and you could have made Luke not such a total disaster.
Yeah,
that's in the second film, right? You could have changed these little things. Yeah, you could change little things, and it would have made everything fine. But I don't know. It's crazy that people hand these, you know, they hand these guys hundreds of millions of dollars, you know, billions of dollars to make this stuff, and you wonder, I mean, did you even go to writing school? Like, you have any concept of what's going on, like with what people want, what's going to make them happy? I don't know.
I think these higher ups and executives and people in suits or investors or whoever you want to call them, the Illuminati. I'm just kidding. But their thinking is that let's give them content. They'll just eat it up, and they're not smart. Yeah. The consumers are not smart. They'll just consume it.
Yeah.
But they don't realize that we're freaking smart and we know what's going on. And there's the internet and we talk. And like for Marvel, they already said they're actually going to slow down the amount of content they're producing because they realize that, hey, we're just not going to eat anything that you throw at us.
No, and these people live in a bubble. They kind of live in a bubble, right? The people, the people in the corporate world or the executives that are running companies, oftentimes they're pretty removed from the rest of society. Yeah. And they're not necessarily, so the two things that I've heard most from people who I know who are in the industry have told me that a lot of the time the talented people don't necessarily rise to the top. Right? You have a lot of talented writers in Hollywood, but they're not getting the jobs because the jobs are doled out based on politics and other things. And the other thing is, what you see with like the executives is that a lot of the time they're behind the ball on what society actually is interested in or what they want. I was watching a documentary the other night on the 90s, right? And the early 2000s. And they were talking about Napster. You remember Napster?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And they were talking about how out of touch the music, like the companies were, in terms of how much people wanted streaming access, downloadable music. I mean, they weren't buying albums and buying CDs, and the executives, they just couldn't get it. So their solution was to prosecute anyone who was doing it, right? And it was only Apple that had the idea, oh, well, no, let's just make it easy for them and make money off of it.
Yeah. A dollar for a song.
Yeah.
And you know, $1 a dollar, really not much. And
that adds up.
And that adds up. Yeah. Subscriptions now, you know, it's just becoming.
But anyway, so, well, I don't want to end 2022 talking about the sequel.
Oh yeah,
exactly.
Well, you know, of course. And you know what, we could kind of piggyback, you know, we'll definitely get back into your you know, getting to know about your collecting habits in just a second. But you know, it's good that we're talking about that sequels and you know what like how big of a disaster it was. Because seriously, these are sequels. We're continuing the legacy of the storyline of the Skywalkers and the surrounding characters around the Skywalkers, the Lando Calrissians and the Leia Organa and the, you know, all these characters. And they were just destroyed, in my opinion, with the sequels. You know, you got, you know, I think Chris Ellis said they kill Akbar to replace him with Holdo. It's like, really? Like, they killed Akbar in such a dishonorable death. You know, such a and he's like, you know, he's you know, one of the main legacy characters, in my opinion.
And here's the thing, they don't have to do those things to pass the torch.
No,
they can do it. And what you see when you look at franchises that have done it right, you see they don't have to destroy the characters that everybody loves to prop up the characters that they want to promote. So look at Cobra Kai.
Oh,
brilliant!
yeah.
I think it's better than the original movies, right?
Yeah.
Look at Top Gun. Maverick.
Yes.
Where they don't have to destroy the legacy of the prior characters to introduce new characters that everyone enjoys.
Well, the difference between those other two IPs is they actually show respect to the characters.
Exactly.
Thank you.
And Disney, I feel like Disney wants to get rid of George Lucas as fast as they can. So they're like, let's kill off all his characters and create our own. But it's like your own's not working. And you have a vast amount of resources that the fans have built up over decades.
Exactly.
Like, just do your research. You know?
Why would you want to destroy history? You know,
right?
Yeah. Why?
Now look at Marvel. You know, they're kind of in the same boat with Phase 4. What was the only movie that they made that was ultra successful? It was the Spider-Man movie. And why is that? Because they didn't trash Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield. They in fact elevated those characters to the point where they're even more beloved now than they were in the last films they were in. And at the same time, it gives you more appreciation for Tom Holland's character. It's, you know, I don't know. It seems like a no-brainer to me, but they're not paying me billions of dollars.
And you know, like you said, they're disconnected. They don't care. They just want to see dollar bills. What it comes down to. They don't care. All this content is fluff. They don't care because they want people to be subscribed to Disney Plus. They don't want to lose subscribers, so they're just, we need content. We need to catch up with Netflix. We need to catch up with this and be. And I
hate to say it, prepare yourselves for another character assassination with the new Indiana Jones movie.
I have a
feeling that's what's coming.
I think I heard rumors that they had you know, the test screenings, and they had 5 endings that they tested with the you know, in the test screening, and all the test audience hated it. hated every single ending and
Yeah.
just
Wow.
hated the movie. So I'm kind of scared what's
Yeah.
going to happen with Indiana. And to be honest, just with the Last Crusade, to me, the Last Crusade is the last Indiana Jones
Yes,
movie.
Last-
That's it.
absolutely, absolutely.
I
Yeah.
don't care about anything else because that
Yeah,
was perfect.
They
Yeah.
don't have to do. That's the thing. They don't have to. This is not that hard. This is
Mhm.
not that
Yeah.
hard. Hey, Jeff.
Jeff,
Hey, Jeff.
what's
How's
up,
it
Jeff?
going?
How's it
You're just
going?
right in time while we're trashing the
Trashing
sequels.
the sequels.
Oh,
Yeah.
the sequels?
Yeah.
Fun.
But but here's the thing too, is that like how can Disney salvage what happened with the sequels?
They can't. They need to move on, and they need to. I think they need to bury it. Just not talk about it, not mention
but it's
it.
just gonna be one of those things that's just gonna be like a thorn in every Star Wars fan's side. It's just like it exists.
Yeah.
It will always, but there is hope. And our hope is Ahsoka.
Yeah.
So
Yes. Yeah.
So I don't know if you guys have been paying attention to Star Wars Theory and some of the rumors that's circling the internet. So for the people that don't want to know the rumor, this is your chance to, step away for just like the next 15 minutes. But if you're curious, and mind you, these are rumors, not saying that it's going to be true.
We're all curious.
But we're just curious. So anyway, in Rebels, they introduced this thing, and I wouldn't say entity, but basically a world between worlds. So a world between worlds is basically, like they go into this area where it shows like different portals to different timelines in different, I guess scenes from different timelines. I don't know, not different timelines. It's one timeline, but different places in the timeline, right? So we were able to see like Ezra kind of pull Ahsoka out of like a situation and kind of like keep her alive. So with that being said, it's almost like, is there an opportunity for Filoni? And it almost felt like Filoni kind of added this because he was actually the creator of Rebels, right? And he wrote a lot of the storyline. I'm wondering if he implemented the world between worlds because he kind of knew what was going on with the sequels. So he's like, listen, if ever this is an opportunity in the future to kind of right the wrongs. So I'm just going to read, what's, this article in regards to the rumors. It says, the rumors comes from Making Star Wars and asserts from that there will be multiple actors playing Ahsoka from Rosario Dawson, who played the live action version of the character in them. Given that there are multiple actors, the show will feature Ahsoka at different points in her life. However, Star Wars does note that there are glimpses or small sequences, and Dawson will play Ahsoka during the majority of the storyline. Nevertheless, the rumor goes on to claim that these glimpses will be seen via World Between Worlds. Not only will they show Ahsoka at different stages in her life, but they will also reveal possible outcomes depending on significant choices she makes throughout her life. Making Star Wars specifically notes that if Ahsoka had returned to the Jedi Order, she would be the one fighting Darth Vader on Mustafar, having the high ground, not Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Right.
Oh my gosh, these ads, get out of here. What the heck?
There should be a few more on the screen. Just saying.
Oh, come on. Jeez Louise. I'm worried about like how do I close this?
Can you hit escape? Maybe.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Making Star Wars specifically notes that if Ahsoka had returned, to this point, Making Star Wars also notes that the actor portraying Ahsoka filmed fight scenes with Clone Wars Ahsoka, and that Hayden Christensen also did some fight training wearing the same costume he wore on Mustafar in Revenge of the Sith. The big theme of the show will also reportedly be the one that cannot change their destiny, as no matter what choices Tana actually makes, they all lead to a particular moment in her story. Not only does Tana realize that her destiny cannot change no matter the choices she makes, but the Anakin Skywalker's destiny was also set in stone. So basically they're just kind of saying like, it's going to be like, different timelines. I mean, not different timelines, but different scenarios where you could see the possible outcomes if Ahsoka came back to the Jedi Order, and then she'll be the one fighting Anakin. I'm wondering if they could utilize that to what happens if, I don't know, some sort of thing, and then like where it changes like a major timeline, and it like kind of like creates an alternate timeline to the sequel trilogy,
like a multiverse, or
Yeah.
perhaps what happened in Back to the Future,
Yeah.
where there's
Yeah.
a tangent. And yeah, you know, I don't know. I feel like that's wishful thinking, because
Yeah.
I think that Disney's perception
Mhm.
is that there are a lot of people that like what they did with the sequel trilogy, and that the people that don't like it are just vocal about it, right?
That's because we're adults. The people that
Yeah.
like it are like little
are
kids.
little kids. Well, because you got to think about it. If it was that, in their eyes, if it was that big of a disaster, why would they keep their parks focused on non-OT stuff? Why would they make their hotel based on sequel trilogy stuff?
Or they're just that hell bent on getting their name out there and erasing Lucas's.
Well, whatever it is, they're not going to backtrack now and try and change things, right?
Yeah.
Kathleen Kennedy. Kathleen Kennedy.
Yeah, we already
Yeah,
trashed.
yeah.
But the thing too is that I understand like backtracking. For the rumors I've heard also is that basically what they're trying to do is that they're not trying to erase this timeline. They're just trying to create an alternate timeline where, depending on what you want to follow, like if you don't see the sequel trilogy as the current one, as part of Star Wars, you could kind of like deviate and go follow the other timeline, and that is your sequel trilogy.
So that's your that basically, it's like a choose your own adventure for your own mental canon.
Yeah, and to be honest, I
like that one, Joseph. Mental canon.
Mental
canon.
Actually, to be honest, we all have different mental canons of Star Wars, right? Because we all watched it in different stages in our lives. We all grew up, we're all born in different years, and it depends on when you were born. Is what it depends on. You kind of like line up your I guess your interests line up in a certain direction, right? So, I grew up, like I was, I guess 5, 6, 7 years old when I first watched the first Star Wars movie, and I was watching it on VHS. I never got a chance to watch it in the movie theaters, like, a good majority of the Star Wars fandom. My experience with watching Star Wars in a big screen is the prequel. So that's why I gravitate towards liking the sequels. I mean, the sequels, the prequels.
Oh,
more.
PJ, come on.
I know, but the prequels, right? Like it was just because it was like the experience of it. It's like watching Star Wars in the big screen for the first time. You're like, oh, this is awesome. I'm not talking about like when they remastered it and they changed all the CGI and stuff, and you watch it the first time. That's different. Like, but being able to be, amongst like other Star Wars fans watching a Star Wars movie for the first time and sharing that experience, it's an experience on of its own. But yeah, no, it's just I just hope that they kind of go in that direction so we can kind of close that chapter in just the saga in general, the Skywalker saga, and move on.
Go ahead.
Oh no, just kidding. And move on, and basically because I want to move on to other storylines, but it's like I feel like if I move on, there's always going to be like, oh man, the sequel trilogy. Damn.
No, that's the problem. Like I mentioned at the beginning of all this, once you've seen it, you can't unsee it, right? I mean, look, I'm also a huge Star Trek fan. And I hate what they've done with all the new series that have come out for the most part, right? Star Trek Discovery, Star Trek Picard. And I mean, I watched Picard, and I regret that I saw it, because now in my mind, this is what happens to Picard in the future. And I can't watch The Next Generation anymore and enjoy it. Knowing what's going to happen, I can't unsee it, and so it's like I don't think I'm going to watch any more of these, because it just kind of really detracts from my memory of the originals.
Yeah, and it's just a shame because it's like, even like, they always say, oh, it's geared towards the younger crowd. Well, I got 3 boys and none of them like the sequel trilogy.
Right.
And it's not me forcing them to not liking. They just are uninterested in it.
Yeah.
I showed it to my oldest. He's like, yeah, Dad, like, I don't know. It's like, why is it like this and why is it like that? And then like even like my 2 youngest ones, they gravitate more towards Mandalorian. To them, that's their Star Wars. Like they love the Mandalorian
because it's good.
It's good, and it's like it has a good storyline. It's not
It doesn't suck.
Yeah, it doesn't exactly. And again, it's like these higher ups executives, like they kind of like think we're just chumps here. Like we're in reality, we know and like what we see and watch. So I don't know. Anyway, speaking of Ahsoka, I think the Ahsoka show is going to be one of the biggest Star Wars shows of next year. And from what I heard, from what I heard, it's going to air probably end of August, beginning of September next year. So it's coming up, and this is Dave Filoni's baby, and for a fact, Dave Filoni is like mini George Lucas, right? Like he's like the understudy of George Lucas. He knows the Force and the balance of the Force and everything that is Star Wars. He knows it. So I'm looking forward to this show, and hopefully it doesn't suck. But here's another new report. They say new report claims to reveal who Ray Stevenson and Ivana Sakno will portray in Disney Plus upcoming live action Star Wars Ahsoka. According to Making Star Wars, Stevenson will play a character named Balon. Isn't Balon like a Game of Thrones character? Balon Greyjoy or something? I don't know.
Yeah. Sounds like
yeah. Balon in Ahsoka. Balon supposedly works for Grand Admiral Thrawn.
Yeah, that's gonna be awesome.
That's gonna be sick. Who is himself reportedly played in live action by his Star Wars Rebels voice actor Lars Mikkelsen.
Yeah, that's good.
So that's gonna be sick.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah. Stevenson's Balon is described as a former Jedi who survived Order 66 before fleeing to the New Beyond, where Ahsoka reportedly takes place. Balon apparently tried to maintain his Jedi lifestyle, but was corrupted over time and embraced the dark side of the Force, possibly due to the influence of the Night Sisters. Sometime around the events of the Return of the Jedi, Balon took on an apprentice. This brings us Sakno, who reportedly plays Shin, Balon's apprentice and assassin, whom Making Star Wars speculates might be a former Night Sister herself. Oh my God, I can't believe we're getting Night Sisters. Anyway, Shin is described as being cold, calculated, and desperate to prove herself to Balon. Due to her and Balon's association with Thrawn, Shin is apparently tasked with killing Ahsoka, potentially setting up a larger conflict between Ahsoka and Balon himself if she can't get the job done. I don't know.
I'm looking forward to the series.
Yeah.
I love Rosario Dawson.
Yeah.
As Ahsoka, and I think she's someone who, like you were talking about Filoni, who loves, legitimately loves Star Wars. She's someone who is legitimately like a science fiction fan. Huge. Apparently, she's a huge Star Trek fan also. And I remember reading once that I guess she and her brother like speak fluent Klingon to one another.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What the hell?
She's super into all of this.
Oh, that's crazy.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's sick though. That's crazy. I didn't know she was like I didn't know she speaks fluent Klingon.
That's what I've heard, but I'm hoping one day to meet her and ask her the question. And
Then she'll answer it in Klingon.
Yeah, I know. I don't speak it, so
that would be badass.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, but I'm actually Ahsoka is probably the number one show I'm looking forward to over like the Mandalorian. Mandalorian's coming out in March.
Yeah,
I'm scared for Mando.
Yeah.
Jeff knows. Jeff feels.
Don't start. Don't start, Sean. Don't start.
Dude, if it happens, you're gonna be like, Sean knew it.
I'm gonna be like, click off.
I would throw like my remote control at.
Well, Joseph,
I will throw. Yeah,
I was going to tell Joseph what we're talking about. My biggest fear is they're going to give Grogu a jetpack and a Mando helmet, and if I see his ass flying around, I'm turning the TV off.
Can you imagine the entry for the first episode as little Grogu flies in?
But the jetpack will sound like the Jetsons.
Oh my god!
I really hope that Filoni and Favreau
he's
smart enough.
He's got his chainmail, so he picked that over a lightsaber, so he can't be that smart.
Yeah.
And then they're gonna start calling him Daddy. Daddy.
Well,
show's done.
Yeah, but to be honest, I just feel like they're just trying to sell more like merchandise with
it's a merchandising tool, and it was their biggest money maker.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, how can we get rid of this character? We got to bring him back because we need to sell more Grogu toys. Yeah. But I don't know how long that's going to last, right? Because the novelty only lasts so long with these things. People really love them.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you try and shoehorn the character in there, it's just going to feel weird and forced.
Look at Groot.
Groot is a great example of that.
Like where I was like, oh, Groot, oh baby Groot, so cute, and then it's like everything started tapering off, and I'm glad that he started growing up.
Right.
The only problem is with Grogu. Oh my gosh, like it took 50 years for him to still look like a baby. Man.
Yeah.
It's gonna take another 50 years before he even gets to I don't know.
It's gonna have a little Padawan bun.
Oh my god!
When at the end of season 2, Mando, when he left with Luke, I feel as though they were writing him out of the story.
They wanted to,
and then they were caught off guard with all of remember the demand. If you remember that Christmas, everyone was, so they were like, no, this is a moneymaker. We got to bring him back. And so they did it as soon as they could, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
They should have had him go off with Luke because with him being gone, it changes the entire dynamic of the Mandalorian.
Exactly.
He's a badass.
You could have sprinkled, because then if you did that too, you could have sprinkled him into certain episodes, right? You wouldn't shoehorn him in. Like we have one episode where you go find Luke and Grogu on what they're up to, right?
Yeah.
And then you can come back.
Holidays. Holiday special. Mando goes to visit Grogu at Christmas.
Well, here's getting to the point of what PJ was saying earlier about the alternate timelines. When he went off with Luke, I said to myself, well, is this the opportunity that they're taking to change the timeline, right? Because remember, Kylo was supposedly Luke's first student in his school. And if Grogu had stayed with Luke, he would have been the first student and it would have changed the whole thing. So in a way, I kind of knew. I was like, no, he's not staying with Luke because they're not going that route. They're not going to change. So but anyway,
I just really hope, because in Bob Iger's book, he even admitted that he made a huge mistake with the sequels in Star Wars, right? Like he mishandled that. I think he was kind of he felt bad for not having George Lucas around for the Disney Star Wars era. So hoping that since he's back, he will try to make things right by trying to say, hey George, I'm sorry, can we bring you back and do something together and correct this course of where Star Wars is going, because right now there is no movies.
Right.
There's no movies being made.
Well, Favreau's already brought back Lucas, right? Did they say Lucas was on the set of Mandalorian?
They're
obviously consulting him now.
But I felt like with him being back in the Mandalorian, it's more say, hey, this is blah, blah,
you want to see
look at where we're heading with our technology, because George has always been a big huge technology, pushing the technology forward in movies and stuff. That's why he wanted to do a lot of stuff in digital and things like that. And especially with his first Star Wars movie, he wanted to move the industry forward with some of these things. So, and which he did, because to be honest, without Star Wars, I don't even know where things would be right now with stop motion and all these things. And I you know, he always wanted to do digital because he hated doing editing. Because I watched.
Well, think about where we would be in film if ILM had never happened.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
We'll still be like, they'll still be like cutting film, and that's how they're editing.
Yeah.
They had the little thing. So
Yeah.
There'll
be no 4K, that's for sure.
Oh yeah.
See, I'm okay with Star Wars moving forward without the movies, right? As long as they invest the time and the resources into the actual TV stuff and not rush it like Fett was and some of the other stuff. Like, I'm okay not having to go to the movies and see any more Star Wars. Like, just put it on TV, but put it in a good way.
Yeah.
So,
well, I don't know. So far, they're like 50% in terms of their success, right? But it's been my observation, and I could be wrong, but it's anytime they try and deal with legacy characters, they screw it up.
Yeah.
And anytime they create anything original, they do it very well. So leave the legacy characters on, because really Book of Boba Fett was a disaster. I didn't like Obi-Wan. I didn't think they did that well, but Andor was excellent, which was a Disney creation, right? Rogue One was a Disney creation, and Mandalorian is an original creation. So hopefully they do some more original stuff.
Yeah.
I like we all been saying here in the past shows, Old Republic, just go there, explore that era. There's no Skywalkers, there's no legacy characters.
Right.
Well, there's only, you know, Darth Revan and Malix, and come on, there's no way in hell you could mess that up.
Yeah, and there's resource.
There's tons of
resource.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then, you know what? I think the newer audience would gravitate towards it because there's a lot of like bounty hunters, Sith lords, and Jedis, and they're all like fighting each other. I mean, who wouldn't want to see that?
Yeah.
Who would want to see the first Mandalorian? You know, it's like,
do we know, is Ahsoka, are they doing multiple directors for each episode like they were with?
You know what? I'm not sure. And I honestly think they might just rely on Filoni on this one.
I hope.
Well, because what I was going to say is, I think what happened was Mando was so successful using multiple directors that they were like, oh, this will work with Fett also, and this will work with other legacies, and it doesn't work. So I'm hoping they go back to where it's like just one director, right?
Yeah.
Consistent story.
Yeah. The problem with Book of Boba was that, you know, they hired Robert Rodriguez, and I think they hired him based off the reaction of the fandom with that the shortest Mandalorian episode in season 2, which is when Boba Fett comes out and starts kicking ass. But people enjoy the action. They didn't realize there wasn't really much storyline in that episode. It was just like all action. You know, he came back, he kicks ass, and everyone loves it.
Right.
But then when you put him in like an actual show, and he's like also the producer of it, it's like Spy Kids, Vespa gang, like cyberpunk, and you're like, this shouldn't be in Tatooine. Like, Tatooine's like dirty and sandy, and it gets everywhere. And
my theory on this is that what happened is when they made the Mandalorian, right? They made Boba Fett. The Mandalorian is who, in their minds, Boba Fett is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when they were tasked with making a Boba Fett series, they were like, well, we already blew our load on Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Right? We already created that character. Now the guy who Boba Fett is supposed to be has been done, so now we got to make him somebody different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I think that's what they did, because think about it, from what you saw in the original trilogy, and you look at Mando, isn't that who you think of? As the silent, you know,
he's Clint Eastwood. He's Clint Eastwood.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's my theory. I think they blew their load on the Mandalorian, and then they were like, oh shit, what do we do for Boba Fett now? Because we can't just make another Mandalorian character.
But I agree. And they wanted to change. Yeah.
Yeah, we can't make him a badass, so we'll make him a godfather.
Yeah.
You know, and it was just that it's just not who Boba Fett is.
No.
Yeah, I mean, he could have been the Godfather, meaning like he could have been like destroyed.
But he could have been ruthless.
He could have been ruthless. Exactly. He was too nice.
Well, yeah, he was too nice, and he hired like these like the Vespa gang, and I'm just like, what is this?
Yeah. Usually he's slapping them around.
Come on, like I mean, if you were like a civilian in Tatooine, and you're like Boba Fett's here, and he's got the, I don't know, the Brady Bunch over there coming at you, wouldn't you be like, I'm not scared of this gang,
right?
Like they look like, and they ride Vespas, like what's going on here?
Bunch of high schoolers.
I don't know who was thinking. Who thought of that? They should be fired.
Yeah, I mean, even like, and you know what? Jon Favreau was supposed to direct the last episode of the Book of Boba, and they were supposed to have like this big, huge fight scene, but Robert Rodriguez convinced him, "Please give it to me. I will make it right." And then I watched it, and I'm like, "What the hell is this?" Like they incorporate some desperado, like where they shoot the guy like as he's falling like a billion times, and he's still like alive. I'm like, what is this stupid? I mean, granted, like I'm like, okay, yeah, that's like a nod to Desperado, but dude, like I felt like it was the same. They were shooting the same alien, like it was like a whack-a-mole, right? Like the same aliens being shot at in like different places in the scene.
Don't you?
And there's no bodies, and there was no bodies in the streets.
You're in trouble when the best episode in the entire series doesn't have the main character in it at all.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, you always wonder too. Like, I always want to be behind the scenes at like these meetings where like somebody comes to the table and they're like, "I got this great idea. We're gonna put scooters in this show, right? And they're gonna be slow as shit. Everybody on board with that?" And like, how many people around the table are like, "Oh hell yeah, that sounds great. Let's go."
Yeah. What color you want to make them?
Yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, who has like? Do we think the whole table agreed, or was it just one person overriding and going, "No, we're putting this shit in. It's going in."
Yeah, the person that wrote the checks goes, "It's going in."
Well, I think what happens is you've got a real in those situations. I think it's very political, and there are a lot of people that probably won't speak up. They think it's a shitty idea, but they won't say anything because they don't want to lose their job.
That's true.
Yeah.
They're like that's how these things get perpetuated, right? That's how bad ideas get perpetuated in companies.
It's true.
Yeah, and mind you, like I sit in meetings too, but like sometimes like if you're like, all right, I gotta say something, you have to, because you're like, if you don't, like it's gonna go in. Like I wish someone would say something, I wish Jon Favreau's like, Robert, I saw the first 3 episodes that you shot. No, I'll take this one.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but again, I really hope that they get their shit straight. Sorry if I'm cursing, but I really hope so. I'm looking forward to 2023, and I hope that things get better with not only Star Wars but Marvel too, because Marvel is like, ooh. It's rough. Oh boy, it's rough.
I'm worried about Daredevil because they said they already announced they're gonna tone him down. He's not gonna be as bloody.
Yeah, I was like
that's not Daredevil.
That's yeah. And I'm just like, oh my, I'm scared for Deadpool. Deadpool's supposed to be like, rated R.
Oh yeah.
It's never good when they set up the fan base, right? When they're like, don't expect it to be really bloody. We're just gonna
by the way, whatever made this successful on Netflix, don't worry about it. We're not gonna do that.
We're gonna watch that.
And that's why I always say, and I think I mentioned in the previous show, is that that's why Game of Thrones, the new Game of Thrones,
fantastic,
and the boys, like
The Boys is great.
I mean, it's great. It's like you're like, whoa, this is coming out in 2022. Like, what is? And you're like enjoying every minute of it, and everyone's. I don't hear anybody complaining about The Boys, to be honest.
No,
I haven't heard a single negative thing about it. Everybody loves it.
Everyone loves it. There's no like forced agendas. It's just like, here it is.
And that's the thing. There's a huge dichotomy, right? When between the things that are universally enjoyed and the things that are not. And you see, I mean, it's very clear. Like The Boys, great example. I haven't heard anybody say anything bad about that.
No,
but
I haven't.
The new what is it? Rings of Power.
Oh my God!
I don't know. I don't know if there's anyone who I've talked to who thought it was good, and I'm like, they spent almost $1 billion on this thing.
Wow.
I mean, this is really horrendous.
Yeah,
I mean, but
it was
like there's and it's very clear when you watch the two things like that, what they're doing right and what they're doing wrong, and it makes you wonder. Are the people who are making Rings of Power, are they watching the other stuff and saying maybe we should be doing something more like this? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just I feel like for us, like we could seriously be part of the board and make great content. Honestly.
Yeah.
Honestly. Like seriously.
Well, I'm no creative, but I can certainly look at something and tell you this works or this doesn't work. I mean, it's pretty intuitive,
Yeah.
So,
well, what happened to like bringing like? They used to do that with like toys and stuff. They bring like fans in and you're like, hey, what do you think of this?
Right.
Oh, this is trash. I don't want this. Right. Like
exactly.
Why don't they do that? I mean,
because they don't respect us. They think we're just we're just gonna gobble everything up.
Do they?
And
do you think they let the fans do the screeners, or do you think it's employees that screen it?
I think for the movies, I don't know what they do, to be honest.
Because I'm even thinking for the TV shows, they've got to show it to someone,
Yeah, I know that they do show things to employees, but I don't know if they bring because there's all the NDA stuff that
right. You don't want it to leak.
Worry about. They don't want leaks and all of that. I don't know. The person who I saw David Bedreau pop on. I think he's watching the show. He may be able to speak to that because he's in the industry, and I know he told me a few times, that he was called, at points to go to the theater that's in their studio and watch something, to get their reactions. So who knows?
Who knows either? But let me tell you, if I was an employee, I'd probably be fired instantly. Hey, AJ, what do you think about the Last Jedi? It sucks. Ass.
Yeah, this is the worst thing ever.
Well,
by the way, before you leave the movie theater right now, I need you to hand in your badge.
Well, do you remember the movie Big with Tom Hanks?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh,
it's a prime example, right? Where the guys that are working there really, they don't know what it is that the kids want, what it is that they like. They're totally out of touch, and then Tom Hanks comes in as a child and can
which
create
is
better.
Perfect. Oh wow.
Yeah,
I think that is just like a perfect analogy. Like just meaning like, it's like it takes it's so simple, but yet these guys make it so complicated in making like you said in Big, like this he's a kid in a grown man's body, and he's coming in, he's like, yeah, this sucks, and they're like, whoa. Yeah, you should really make it this way and that way. And they're like, oh, you're right. Well, you're right, because you actually are passionate about the toy.
Right. Well, so I want to shift gears a little bit on that note, because I want to talk that we've talked about this with Queen Studios. So I know you represent them, right? And I know a couple of times I've asked you, the way the statues are made, or the busts, or whatever, the way the power supplies are, the way you have to like take the head off to turn on the light. Yeah. And it's like, I know the guys who are creating this stuff are really brilliant artists, but are any of them collectors? Because they've got to know that this isn't flying with anyone.
I just think what it comes down to is the cost sometimes. Like, I think with like a company like Queen, it's like trial and error, like I think Sideshow went through that phase because they've been around for so long.
Right.
Queen is kind of going through that phase, but one thing about them is they're listening, like they listen to feedback, and obviously, they realize like some of the, mistakes that were made, so they could get better. They listen to the feedback, and sometimes they listen to my feedback, and I'm
going to be giving you lots of feedback. Please take it back to them.
No, well, I'm supposed to be actually doing a big show, because we're trying to do something where we kind of give updates in a quarterly update. So the next quarterly update, because the end of the fourth quarter is January 2nd. We're probably going to do at the end of January, like an update of what's to come.
Okay.
And
And
I had some. I'll tell you guys maybe in the backstage, but they got big things coming.
Okay, please, no Star Wars license because I want to remain married.
I can't guarantee that.
That's true. That's true.
You know,
we're all gonna have to move in together.
I could definitely say they're trying hard.
Oh my God, that would be horrible.
We'd
all move in together. We'd have like no space.
We wouldn't be able to eat. We'd spend all our money on collectibles.
Yeah.
I know.
Well,
We'd be telling Joseph to move the stuff on the floor. Joseph, we can walk.
Swap meets every night. It's like, Joseph, you don't like that anymore? I'll trade you 6 Jar Jar Binks for that one Grogu with jetpack.
Oh gosh, that's not an even trade, Sean. That's not an even trade. Yeah, so but well, speaking of collectibles, let's actually get to know Joseph a little bit. So, in terms of collecting Star Wars, I know you collect a lot of things outside of Star Wars, but in terms of Star Wars, what do you usually collect? Do you collect hot toys, statues, props, or a little bit of everything?
So there's certainly a lot of everything. Mm-hmm. not a little bit of everything. But
we're all in the same boat.
I really started, the way I started with Star Wars was the studio models and the props. Including helmets and weapons. And most of that stuff was master replicas, right? So master replicas made some of the vehicles, which, I considered studio models. And then they made, the helmets and the props, the weapons, the lightsabers, the blasters. And so I started to kind of consume all of those. And then that got me into custom props and custom studio models. So I would work with, makers to do, do props and do the models. And in fact, the one that I just finished with Mike Salzo is a Studio Slave One.
Oh my God!
And I don't have it yet. He still has it. It's in his possession because I told him don't ship it until well after the new year because I just know how crazy shipping is and I don't want anything to happen to it. So, but it's a beautiful piece. It's if you've been to Launch Bay at Disneyland and you've seen the Slave One that they have there, he made that. So it's basically like it's identical to that one.
Nice.
Yeah. But
is that the repaint, Joseph?
No.
Oh, I thought you.
No, this is the original from Empire.
No, I thought one of the Slave Ones that you got.
Oh, yes. So basically what happened was I had been working with someone who I commissioned to do the project and it wasn't coming out the way that I thought it should be. And for the amount of money and time and everything that I had put into doing this, because this is a multi-year project, I wasn't happy and I thought I should be, 100%. So I took it out of his hands and I decided to send it to Mike Salzo. And then what Salzo ended up doing was completely tearing the whole thing apart, remaking most of the pieces because he made the original kit. And he basically built it from scratch for me. So it's not a repaint. It's basically a completely new model. But I couldn't have, I'm so grateful to him for having done that because he saved me because there are not a lot of people that would be willing to take something that somebody else did and then try and fix it or, so I'm very excited for that. It's, and I have to say, look, I also have to thank the person who worked on it originally because they did certain things that Mike probably wouldn't have or couldn't have done. Like the cockpit was done with like 30 fiber optic lights and all kinds of stuff that when Mike builds his Slave Ones, he doesn't do that. And then the canopy glass that's over it was actually manufactured by the guy I had originally commissioned he cast it in this clear urethane and it's like optically clear. It's beautiful. It looks like glass.
Oh, nice.
So I'm really happy. And then right now I'm working with John Eblin to make a base for it that is the landing platform from Bespin.
Oh, yeah.
The round platform with the walkway.
Yeah.
It's going to be 18 inches in diameter. And it's going to have all the perimeter lights and everything.
That's
and then the Slave One is going to be mounted above it in flying mode.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So that's anyway.
Okay. Wow.
So all right, Joseph, you win.
Yeah, you win. I'm just getting a hot toy.
So
Boba Fett, oh my gosh.
So that's how I started with Star Wars, right? Is those things. And then I got introduced to the Hot Toys stuff. And that was because, I started to see the Marvel, the Iron Man and the other stuff. And that really kind of pulled me in with all the Hot Toys. And at the same time, Jazz Inc. was making the dioramas for them. So I was buying up the dioramas to pair the Hot Toys with. And then at the same time, I have a good friend who lives here. We've been friends for like 20 years. His name's Randy Bowen. And he's kind of
yeah, I know.
Yeah, he's a
big deal.
Yeah, the godfather of the statue industry.
Wow.
And Randy, when he left the business, essentially when he kind of liquidated his entire warehouse, and he gifted me like 50 statues.
Holy crap.
And it got me completely invested in the statues. So then I started getting the Sideshow, the various statues from Star Wars, and then it got me into a lot more custom stuff. So like the MYC stuff, I just got the Ahsoka from MYC. So I have a really diverse collection. Even just in Star Wars, it's pretty diverse in terms of the types of things that I collect. But I still I think my first love is the models, is the studio ships and the props. And I love doing the props too.
Well, I'm going to ask for a favor.
Yeah.
Please don't show me that Slave One. I'm going to be so jealous.
He's going to sell a kidney.
I
was about to text
I'm so happy for you, Joseph.
So,
you know
what I got
the picture if you got it.
If you want.
When I first met Joseph, the thing that I learned the most with Joseph is which I thought was always really cool about Joseph's collection is, and I've kind of tried to do some of that as well, is like, he mixes licensed pieces with actual good people that are building things for Star Wars. Like, and mixing that up so that you don't have to always have licensed piece. You can actually find a good person to build something and do it correctly if you want another piece. He does a good job of mixing in those pieces in his collection. And that's something I personally enjoy, like seeing when Joseph comes on and all of the different YouTubes and things. So I like that stuff. It's great.
Yeah. And sometimes the custom makers do stuff that's, far better than any licensed piece. And where you really see this is with lightsabers. Right?
Yeah.
I have a piece. One of my favorite Star Wars pieces is a custom lightsaber made by Martin Baer in Germany. He goes by MB Sabers, and if you've ever seen his stuff, he makes the chassis. He custom designs these chassis, and they're all metal, and he does all the electronics, and they're mind blowing pieces. And that's far better than any lightsaber I'm ever going to get at Disney parks, right? Or anything from Hasbro, a Force FX lightsaber. There's just no comparison. So yeah, it's not licensed, and then other times the licensed stuff really does shine, right? Master Replicas, EFX, when Anovos was actually producing stuff, their fiberglass helmets. All those things were, some of them are a lot better than any custom helmet you could get, because they feel like like their helmets were fiberglass. They felt like motorcycle helmets, right? They're lined and all of that. You don't get that a lot with custom makers make great stuff that other people aren't making, that the licensed companies aren't making. So if you want a Macquarie Stormtrooper helmet, you have to go to Armory Shop Props in Russia, to get something like that.
Right.
Because EFX never produced it. Even though they showed it at the cons,
Yeah.
So and now it's never going to happen.
Well,
Right.
yeah, and it makes me wonder, is like, how long can EFX hold on to that license if they're not producing anything? Because mind you, you're paying for this license and you're not even producing or making money off of any of these.
Well, now that Brian Ono passed away, you guys
Yeah.
know, right?
Yep.
Since he passed away, I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure exactly who has the reins. And who's going to be controlling things, and whether or not they're going to be able to make anything happen. But yeah, it's I don't foresee a good future. And here's the thing. This is what I told some of the guys that are involved in EFX right now that are going to try to take over and try and produce stuff. I said, look, I've been doing this a really long time, and in order to be successful, you need to do 3 things. You have to satisfy 3 things to be a good company, a good collectibles company. You have to produce quality product. You have to produce the things that you say you're producing. As in, if you're taking money from people for a pre-order, you got to follow through on it. And 3, you have to communicate.
Yes.
That's
a big one.
And I said, EFX failed because they only did one of those 3 things. They produced a quality product, but half the stuff that they took pre-order money for, they never produced, and they never communicated.
Yeah,
because
well, that's like
Brian Ono, like on his personal email, and that was it.
Yeah,
and yeah.
I mean, look what happened to Novos. I mean, thankfully they're the new Novos, and they kind of like partner. Well, not I don't know if it's partnered or they got bought out by what's that? Rubies?
Was it
Ruby?
Rubies?
It was Rubies and NECA.
NECA.
They basically they obtained the license, created the new company, but it was all on the condition that they fulfilled the orders for the old, all the outstanding Novos orders, which they have done.
Right.
Yeah.
And are doing well, but there's some question about the quality in terms of it's hit or miss. I've gotten some pieces that were not that great, whereas some friends got the exact same pieces that were much nicer.
You mean on paint or
on paint?
Okay.
On paint. Because there was now things have changed, right? Because there was a transition period. Because what was happening was the Novos guys had a manufacturing facility in McAllen, Texas, and that was just a bunch of people that were working in a shop doing this stuff. And that stuff, those guys weren't doing it for that long. They basically transitioned from China, and the guys in McAllen were trying to do what they were doing in China, but they just can't. So some of the stuff that came out during the transition was still being made in McAllen.
Yeah.
So it was very hit or miss. But then other stuff was coming from Ruby's NECA manufacturing facilities in China. However, some of their helmets and stuff, even now that are being manufactured, are very much, I don't know, to me, very much on the cheap side. Like the Luke Skywalker helmet and the Gold Leader helmet. These are super light. The paint job on them is nice, but they feel like you're holding a sheet of paper. They're basically vacuum formed plastic. They're like the original helmets were, right? When you're paying $800 for a helmet, you're expecting a motorcycle helmet, not a hard hat from a construction site.
Yeah.
See, that goes when like prop builders, like those ones over there came from the guy in Australia. They're super light, but you didn't pay $800 for them.
Right.
But the paint is really good on them. So, yeah.
808 Michigan Jedi says, who sells the best lightsabers on the market right now? Looking at purchasing my first one.
Depends on what you're looking for.
Yeah.
Well, I think the best lightsabers in the world are made by Martin Bear, but they're $8,000 each.
Good Lord.
Right.
A little cheaper, Joseph.
Yeah.
Please.
Romans. I'm a Romans guy.
It all depends on what you're looking at. Romans, they're beautiful, right? But you'd still have to get them installed.
Right, if you're looking for that. But if you're looking for a static piece like I've got.
Yeah.
It's
the Romans.
It's affordable.
Yeah. The Romans pieces are beautiful. 89 Sabers makes great pieces too. And then you can get them installed, right, from places like Corbanth, where they're just taking the KR sabers. KR is another great one, right, in the UK. I think he goes by KR Sabers, and I think is it the Saber Armory? I can't remember the name of the website.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, beautiful pieces, right? But you can buy the chassis, or you can buy the hilts, and then you can also buy them installed from like Corbanth. He sells a lot of ones that are already installed. But, you know, of course, if you want the ones with the beautiful, intricate, metal printed chassis with the spinning plasma gate and the light up crystal and all that, you're looking at least $1,000.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. They're spendy. They're spendy.
Yeah. Yeah, but you know, it's just one of those things too, right? Like speaking of the new Novos, I remember right when you were talking about that transition, right before they became the new Novos, I got the Novos Mandalorian helmet.
Mm-hmm.
I think I would say 80 to 90% of the helmet was great, but there's some like imperfections where I'm like, what the hell is like? This is just like certain spots there. I'm like, this is so random, and I mentioned it in my review, and I'm like, what the heck? But then I looked into it, and I'm like, because you were right, they were painted in McAllen, Texas.
Right. See, and I got one, and mine was flawless. And other people got theirs, and they had like fingerprints. And and all of that.
I got fingerprints in mine.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I think.
That's tough.
Now on the flip side, I also right at the transition, I got the Royal Guard helmet from them, beautifully finished inside with the lining and everything, but the gloss finish on it has a slight orange peel when you look at it in the light. Which it shouldn't. It should have like an automotive, like waxed, smooth, car finish. So
it's supposed to be. And then I think mine had fingerprints, and someone I think probably stuck their ass cheeks in it because I have ass cheek marks. Nah, I'm just kidding.
They're like, is this one going to PJ?
Oh, this one's PJ's. No, but the thing too is that
left or right.
That's my worst effing nightmare, right? Is that like, obviously these are handled by people, but like, I remember they're always talking about Sideshow Seconds, right? Like, oh, Sideshow Seconds is 15% off. Oh, and I asked, I think in the group or something, or asked somebody, like, are these like is just the box broken, or is this someone like a return? Is this like a return from somebody? And they're like, oh no, it could be that, a little bit of both. And I'm like, so you mean to say someone got it and returned it, and because they weren't happy with it? I'm like, I don't know if I want that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because my worst fear is that someone's like, I hate this thing, and starts like putting their pubic hair and like on that statue. And mind you, the reason why I say pubic hair, because I remember I got the statue from somebody. Oh my God. And then like I was opening it, and I'm like, why is there hair in here?
Why does Princess Leia have a beard?
And I'm like, and then
I told you I was sorry, PJ. Jesus.
Jeff, I told you, manscape before you send the statue out. Thank you.
And then that helmet. When you put that helmet on, it smelled like ass. I'm like,
Dude, what the? Why does it smell like doo-doo in here? Can someone share? Anybody can share links to 808 Michigan Jar?
Yeah, I sent him a link. Yeah, I sent him a link to Romans. That's probably the most affordable with the best quality, I think.
Yeah.
But especially their Obi-Wan.
I have that. I got it this year. I love it.
It's beautiful. Yeah.
Do you have the detonator from them, Joseph?
I do not have what I have is. Okay, so I have a Master Replicas detonator.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And then I have a kit to make a detonator that came from KR Sabers.
Okay.
In the UK. And the kit's beautiful. I love it. It's all metal and stuff. But I haven't built I figured I'd build it for fun. But I was really lucky because back in the day I got the Master Replicas ones, and I got the clean one and the weathered one, which is really really cool.
David says he's back. Hey David,
what's up,
welcome
David?
back. I just wanted
David.
to say, what you missed, we were talking about like getting used statues and collectibles, and there being like pubic hair on it,
and ass prints.
But there was we mentioned David earlier, because maybe he can answer that question.
Oh yeah.
And that is because you're in the industry, David, and I know you've mentioned this to me before, when they screen films, like do test screenings for films, do they bring in people who are just like off the street, or do they only show the films to people who are working in the studio to get their reactions? Maybe you can shed some light on that for us.
Can you imagine we're all there? They're like, what do you guys think? Everyone's like, oh, it was great. And I'm like, this sucks. And then the next day, we're like, hey guys. And the guys, everyone's in the cafeteria. What happened with PJ? Like, he didn't like the movie. He didn't like The Last Jedi. I think that was it.
Why is PJ's office cleaned out?
Yeah.
David said both.
Both. Okay.
Yeah.
So
808 Jedi says, now I feel like I have to go wash my hands after that, PJ.
Don't touch my drum set.
Yeah. Someone slaps their testicles on him.
So
yeah, but I mean that could happen even with the factory workers. Like, I fucking hate my job. Slap with their yeah. You never.
That's
know.
why you never piss off your waiter.
Or anyone that is like you're buying a statue.
Who's handling your food? Yeah, you don't mess with them.
Yeah. Can you imagine like you start? You know how like everyone smells like the new like collectible smell.
Oh
like,
yeah.
Oh, that smells good. And rewind it like 3 months before the guy was like wiping his ass on it. Anyway,
but the thing is,
by the way, I'm mentally like not stable, guys. Like for me to think like that,
we know that.
No, but it's just one of those things. Like, I got stupid camera. Yeah, no, but like it's just one of those things. There you go. It's just one of those things. Like, I don't know. It just pops in my head. I'm like, what happens if someone's pissed off at me or something? Slaps like their testicles on.
But
statue.
In the world of collecting, like like Jeff said, and I mean, I get a lot of the stuff that's licensed and a lot of the stuff that's unlicensed. But I love working with the custom makers, because it's such a great. Especially if you like to collaborate on stuff, right? I know Jeff likes to do that. I love to do that. I just finished a project a couple of months ago with Austin Johnson in the UK to do a 1/6 scale X-wing cockpit diorama.
Oh, nice. My God!
It's right up there with my favorite things from the year.
Is he gonna put the LCD screen with the trench run, the targeting computer?
That was actually my idea.
Oh, nice.
So
Joseph.
Yeah.
Are you the kid like the GI Joe carrier like that?
Oh God, no.
Are you the kid? Hey, Joseph, like I come over your house. Hey, Joseph, I got the new like Snake Eyes toy, and you're like, I got the helicarrier. I'm like, what the hell? And trust me, actually, I grew up with a kid. I'm like, he's neighbor. He's got like obviously his parents spoiled him.
Yeah.
Right. I remember I got like some sort of GI Joe vehicle. Like I was just like, oh yeah, my dad bought me this. Yeah, it's probably on sale. I go to my friend's house. Yeah, I go to my friend's house. I'm like, hey man, look at this. I got this. And he's like, oh yeah, by the way, my parents bought me this helicarrier. Like it's like this.
Yeah.
You're like, what the? I'm just better. But no. I'm like so happy
I'm
for
that
you.
kid now. I wasn't that kid when I was
exactly.
But so Austin Johnson had made a couple of these X-Wing cockpits, and I loved what he had done, and I called him up and I was like, look, I want to do this, but I have some special requests. And I want to put a functional LCD screen in the cockpit with the animation, because there's a company that already makes these. They're called Brick Stuff. And they make screens of all different sizes that you can put in your models, and they come pre-programmed with everything. And so they actually had one that had the little targeting sequence from the trench run. And so he installed that in the cockpit for me. It's like 1 inch. It's really tiny.
Yeah, that's gonna be awesome.
Well, Joseph. The fact is that like you're doing the research. You are communicating with some of these custom builders and makers, to create like some of these things that like you kind of wish some of these license companies do. I just wish I thought some of this stuff like, oh man, this wouldn't be cool, but
Yeah, communication is king, though.
Yeah,
you got to communicate, because you don't want to leave your customer in the dark going, am I ever going to get this, or what's going on?
Yeah,
because that's the one thing that I feel like I'm patient, because I understand it takes time to make these. But if I'm told a specific time frame, like, let me know. I have no problem if you're like, oh, something happened, I couldn't get to it, or I'm waiting on parts or whatever. I don't care. Just tell me, and I'm fine with that.
Yeah. And if you're just getting into this, it can be extremely frustrating. And there are a lot of people who don't function on a time schedule, who will take your money and leave you high and dry.
Yeah,
and
that's
this happens a lot with the studio models. It happens a lot with the props. I mean, this happened. I mean, I don't want to take up time on the show, but I mean, this happened to me with a Boba Fett jetpack.
Oh yeah, I remember you mentioning that to me. Yeah,
yeah. And that was the guy's name is Rodrigo Diaz Reyes, and he goes by Boba Fett Has College Debt. I mean, what a disaster! Year over schedule, never finished it. Couldn't get my kit back. When I went down to San Diego Comic-Con, George Medina had to like drive up to LA and like go to the guy's house just to get my stuff. And come back to San Diego like to give it to me. Like it was so it can be really, really bad. Yeah. But when you work with someone who's professional and punctual and communicates, it can be, magic in terms of what you can create.
Yeah, I mean, because in the most part, like that's what I'm afraid of, because like it just takes one situation, and my wife's like, "Stop collecting. That's it."
Yeah, Oh, my wife tells me that all the time. This is a sign.
Well, my wife tells me that all the time, but like,
we have a new baby, Joseph. Come on.
Right, exactly.
But for me, it's like it just takes one incident where I'm like, oh, babe, I lost like $2,000 because I don't have this, and then she'd be like, well, that's it, done.
Yeah,
so that's why I don't want to I don't want to take a chance. But like for me, like luckily I work with Jason Props, who's actually making my Mandalorian costume. He's doing the armor part, and
nice.
He's very like, he communicates. He's doesn't ask for like a good majority of the deposit. He's just kind of like, it's like, okay, it's ready, pay up, and then that's it. I'm very
put me in touch with him, because I've had a hard time getting responses from him, because I think he's just super busy.
Oh, he's like,
but I really want to get a Mando jetpack. I have the kit, I just need it painted.
Oh, I'll reach out to him for you.
Yeah. I have the kit, and I have all the electronics and everything to put into it. So I just don't know how to paint Illumoluster yet. So and he does amazing work.
Oh yeah, I can't wait. Yeah, I can't wait to get that in. So, but I'm in no rush. So hoping that it'll be ready by next celebration, not the one in London,
not London. Yeah,
the following one.
Yeah.
So, all right, cool. Well, Joseph, you have like seriously an amazing collection. You have a good range. I enjoy talking to you about collecting and stuff like that. You trust me, you are, dude. I hope we could hang out soon at some point in 2023.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
But just to kind of like move forward with some of the things, like to talk about, like we got this new Hot Toys Mandalorian 6 scale. This is the chromed version.
Yeah. How long ago did they announce this one? Has it been a year?
Just about a year, and it comes with the portrait, it's obviously definitely better looking than the deluxe version. So let's just say now this is out. Let's just say the deluxe version is probably close to worth nothing. It's probably because why would people want to buy the old version when they could just get the chromed out version?
Right.
I know.
Is anybody getting this or
negative? I would honestly. I have the old. I have the old version, but it's still sitting in the box, and it's probably been 2 years.
Yeah.
And this one, I love the weathering on this.
Yeah.
The weathering.
Does it?
Yeah.
Does it come with the Darksaber?
Yes.
It does.
Yep. Yep. The sculpt's not bad.
The sculpt is not bad.
Yeah. It's not perfect, but it looks a little more action figure-ish than Hot Toys usually does.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Which, to be honest, I think that's where they're kind of heading right now. just because they're pumping out so much.
Yeah.
And then obviously, you guys know when there's more quantity, the quality goes down.
Of course.
So I feel like that's kind of like, I mean, it's not horrible, but it's definitely, not the best that they have done.
Do we know the price tag on this?
I think this is close to 300. No, it's over 300 something dollars.
Yeah, I was thinking around 340, 350 at least.
Yeah, and to be honest, I don't think it's worth that much.
No.
And people can say, "Oh, well, it's chromed out." Well, Captain Phasma was chromed out.
Yeah.
And that was like a $240 figure.
I think you're paying for that head sculpt.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
because
that and the armor.
When they do the portraits, it raises the price on these. If it was just the helmeted figure, it would probably be, in the 270 range.
Yeah.
You get all that stuff, all those like packages.
Oh no, that's all the accessories. Yeah, that's true.
I mean,
I still think it's way overpriced in my opinion, because if you had to choose between this and the Boba Fett on the throne,
right?
And that comes with a portrait too. I would rather pick the Boba Fett on the throne. Just
wait, is that a little Grogu backpack?
Oh, Jeff, I knew you're gonna go there.
Of course.
So he doesn't go anywhere without him. Of course, you're getting a Grogu.
Yeah.
The next one, Grogu's going to be hanging out his ass.
So, oh my gosh, it is, guys. Too. It's like I just have a distaste for this figure, just because the deluxe version was barely even out yet. Like I think people just got theirs in,
Ooh.
And as soon as people started getting it in, they announced this one.
Yeah,
and
because they announced it before, people would have canceled their pre-orders.
Yep.
Yeah, but now the people that bought their, like, including myself, and like now I'm like, oh, this figure is like, look at your figure, like,
right. This is downgraded. I'm actually looking at it now, PJ. There's two editions. There's a deluxe version and a collector's edition. So the collector edition is 330, and then the deluxe is 375.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That is just way too overpriced.
Yeah, when you scroll through these pictures, get to the last one where it shows all the accessories, and we'll see what you get for the deluxe.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's just this, like all this.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Oh, I got you. Yeah.
And the portrait, which, mind you, not worth 300, and out the door with shipping and tax, especially with shipping being so high now,
right?
This is going to be like $430.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, thank you.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm sorry. The only thing that you get for the deluxe, you get, like you said, it's the piece of the swoop bike, the jetpack, the helmet, and the satchels. You get the portrait with the collector version.
With both versions.
Yeah. So basically, you're getting that massive amount of backpack stuff.
So they did this because of the swoop bike, basically. Because the swoop bike came out, then they like, hey, here's one with a bunch of stuff with it.
I think they just wanted to. It's a cash cow. They just wanted to paint it chrome and just. It's just.
And they want to give you something to get the head sculpt.
Yeah,
they've been re-releasing a lot of stuff lately, and it makes me wonder whether they're just trying to print more money.
Yeah,
they're trying. I think that's what it comes down to. And to be honest, that's why I want to get out of Hot Toys, just because it's just like I thought I could keep up. Like, all right, well, I'm just gonna do just Star Wars Hot Toys. I'm not gonna collect any Iron Man figures. No, it's just like
it's too much.
It's just not only is it too much, it's too. It's just with the reissues, and it's just God knows, like the figure that you have now. What happens if they reissue it? Then you're gonna like, okay, well, of course I don't want the crap. Who wants an older version? Everyone wants the newer version, right?
Well, unless it's like Sideshow and they reissue something like General Grievous 6-scale figure, and it's even worse than the original.
It's worse than the original.
Worse than the original.
Arms just hanging.
Yeah, and it's just, I don't know exactly. I just think like right now for me, like to kind of like have some sort of focus, I'm just sticking to statues and like props and other things, and I just can't get into like Hot Toys anymore.
Yeah.
And honestly, the props, at least personally to me, feel more, I don't know, they're just more substantial when you have them action figures are fun, but you know, like and especially some of the more obscure props are really kind of cool. I just saw Wanawanga released. I don't know if any of you guys saw that. He released for pre-order. It's the tool that Luke is using to work on his lightsaber in the deleted
deleted scene
from Return of the Jedi.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's kind of cool. I mean, just little things like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, you know, and you know what is like, especially, and mind you, we're not trying to impress anyone, but you know, when someone walks into any of your collection rooms, they're gonna gravitate to your statues and your props. They're not gonna be like, especially they might look at your figures, but they're not gonna be like, oh wow.
Yeah,
they're not gonna be blown away with it.
PJ, I actually had my heat broke a couple of days ago. So the repairman, he was a younger kid and came in today, and he was noticing the Star Wars stuff that's out in my little office area. And I was like, yeah, before you leave, I'll let you check out the room, you know. As soon as I flipped the light, he's like, oh my God. He goes, I have to take pictures of all of this. But he did not gravitate to any of the hot toys. Naturally, Chewie, you're going to see.
Of course,
Chewie.
Chewbacca,
It's like, holy. And he kept asking me, like, how much is it? And I was just like, oh, you know, it costs a bit. I don't like telling him how much. I want you breaking in my house, stealing my because he kept saying, oh, I got to get one of those. Like,
you're like, whoa.
Yeah, hold on.
I know where one is. Yeah.
But it was the statues and like the props. Like he literally gravitated to that, and he loved the Jabba diorama. Like he went to that because that's more of a statue.
To me, the Hot Toys figures look best when you have them in some kind of a diorama.
Yeah, that's what I.
Right, then it becomes a little more impressive because visually there's more to look at than just a.
You have an environment. Yeah,
you have an environment that they're interacting with. That's why I love all the like the Jazz Inc. Dioramas that he did for Star Wars over the years.
Because I think almost every single one of they're in a diorama. Like that was my thing when I first started collecting. Like I've got to make dioramas.
Yeah,
Sorry, go ahead.
Go, Jeff.
I like to pair the sideshow stuff with like a helmet too.
Yes, you know what I mean? that's great.
Yeah,
having a figure with a helmet and a lightsaber and a combination of stuff.
I like that stuff. I mean, that's all the sideshow pieces I have now is only with helmets. Like if I want a character with the helmet to kind of show the full armor,
right?
Then it makes sense.
Yeah, it makes a nice display.
Yeah, that looks really cool. I've seen that in a few collections, and I'm doing that with mine. Is to put combine things almost to like how you would see something in a museum, right? Where you see like the helmet, the figure, the lightsaber, all for the same character, and then a plaque, with maybe even an autograph on the plaque. And it just makes for a really substantial display.
Yeah. And you know what, too? It's like, when you're at your collection room, you gravitate, you yourself. I mean, at least, I mean, for me, I'm like, I shouldn't speak for anyone. At least for me, I gravitate towards the statues and I just look at them and I just admire them most. But when it comes to Hot Toys, and especially when you're in, most of us are completionists when it comes to these Hot Toys, right? Like, because you can't just buy Leia and not buy Han, and you can't just buy Han without Chewie. You know, it's just like kind of, and you're like, well, this original trilogy. Well, now you got Hoth Leia. Now you got this. Now you got that. Now you need this. Now you're not. So now,
and that's intentional. They know this about us.
Drugs are bad.
Yeah, exactly. So now when you start to display them and you're like collecting all these things, now they're just like, they just look like they're just dolls at some point, or action figures instead of a collectible.
I was going to tell you that that's one of the things Randy Bowen told me when he first started making statues, that he chose a scale to make all of his statues intentionally, because he said if something's too big, then you can't have a lot of them. And he said, I know when people are going to collect my statues, they're not going to get the thing from Fantastic Four. They're going to want to get all four of them.
Four of them.
Yeah.
So I need to make them all in a scale that the largest character, the Hulk or the Thing or whatever, won't be too big. And then people will want to buy more and more and have them all, displayed together.
Yeah, and it's just one of those things too, because now there's so many Vaders, and then that's why I was telling Sean, like, to me, it's cool to have like all these like Hot Toys Vaders, but to be honest, I'd rather just have well, now I'm having a couple more. Like I have Nicholas Vader. Now I'm gonna get the Iron Studios throne Vader.
Yeah.
But to be honest, you just like, you know, you just gotta tell yourself at some point, it's like, okay, like I just need the best representation of Vader now.
Right.
You know, that will just, and that's it. I don't need any more.
Well, I mean, it's the same with Ahsoka, right? Like Sideshow came out with their Ahsoka statue, the animated one. Then they did the one with the Rosario Dawson portrait. Then NYC released a Rosario Dawson Ahsoka. It's like, and all of them are really good. Well, how many Ahsokas am I going to have? Right.
And we don't even have the show yet.
And we don't have the show yet. Exactly.
Yeah.
Plan on getting all the different versions from the different actors at different ages.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just a lot. And then, you know, like here's another one. And I'm telling you, they're on a tear. They're just releasing these figures. And this is another one. I mean, granted, this is a great looking figure. It is. And the mouth opens, you know, which is pretty cool.
Is that Gary Busey?
Yeah, exactly. It's Gary Busey. But it's just you know, now you got the, you know, the blurg.
Well, wait, they released this this came out for pre-order before, or is this a re-release?
Well, the blurgs came out, but you could get that with just by itself or with Mando. But this
they didn't have Queel with him?
No.
Oh.
So, but now this is the most recent one. This one's with Queel.
Now they announced it like a year ago, but now it's actually being released.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah,
so no, so this did come out before.
Right, the announcement.
All this looks familiar to me. I know that I thought they did this already. So it's just it's actually coming. It's coming in the collector's hands now.
Yeah. Okay. It looks great. Don't get me wrong. It looks amazing.
He's such a cool figure because he's not human. Like Hot Toys needs to do more aliens. You know. Yeah. Give us Greedo, like, come on, Bosk.
Well, the thing is with the aliens, it's almost easier for them, right? Because you don't face the same issues in terms of accuracy of the sculpt.
Yeah, there's no comparison.
We're very good as humans picking out human faces, right? But when it comes to alien, like his sculpt could be slightly off, you probably wouldn't know.
Nope.
But if it were, you know, but you look at that. What's his name? The actor who plays Mando.
Pascal.
Pascal.
You can definitely tell something's off there.
Yeah.
So
I mean, you get the swaddled Grogu with it.
Oh my gosh!
Dude, I'm telling you, he's
no, serious. I mean, no joke. That's right there.
You're killing me, man. You're killing me.
He comes with his own binky.
Oh, I know what to get you all for Christmas next year.
Oh hell no!
No, please. But I mean, again, this looks great. You know, Hot Toys, you know, they always make good quality products, but I just can't. It's just
it looks good though. It really does.
It does. It does look good. If anything, I'll get the blurg, but it's just my focus is, you know, different now as it was before. You know. Here's one thing though I'm definitely considering getting, if not gonna get it soon.
Ooh, yes.
This is a nice looking McQuarrie statue.
Is that 1/10, 1/6?
A 1/6, I believe.
Okay. Yeah.
So to get this, you just have to sign up for their membership, and this is the gift.
Oh, that's right.
So the membership, obviously, if you join, you get all these, like, you know, there's these different, like, you know, perks.
And there's a monthly fee, correct, for the membership?
No,
a year.
Time.
Master Premium Guild membership, $150 for the year.
Yeah, so you get, you know, the benefits is that you get one statue or a mini bus or a jumbo figure. But to be honest, I'd rather just get that statue.
Ooh, that's
and then you get 2 coupons, you know, and then you get 15% off non-exclusive items. So you get, you know, a good, you know, amount of benefits by signing up.
T-shirt?
Yeah, but to be honest, I wish more companies did this. Imagine if Sideshow did something like this. Like, hey, listen, this is. And
did any of you ever get the Sideshow McQuarrie figures, the 3?
Oh no, those statues. No, I wish I did. Those were.
I sold my Fett to Eben.
Oh, you did.
I had the Fett. Yeah, I was gonna go. So Joseph, I was gonna go and get, because for the front of the display, I was gonna be like, get all the McQuarries.
Uh-huh.
And then when I couldn't track down like a really nice Fett McQuarrie helmet because they shut down in Russia, then I'm like, all right, I'm gonna skip that, and then I sold the Fett. So I still have the McQuarrie helmet.
Was Armory who in Russia was making a McQuarrie Fett?
It was the Galactic Armory.
Oh, that's too bad. Because I'm looking for one still, Fett, a McQuarrie Fett, because I have the McQuarrie Vader, the 2 Stormtroopers, and a C-3PO.
Where's the C-3PO from?
It was from a run that was done on the RPF in 2010. Okay. And it's beautiful because it's like vacuum metallized and the eyes light up with the little white dots. And I love all the McQuarrie stuff. It's, this is beautiful. But I bought all 3 of the Sideshow statues when they got. I jumped on those because I was like, oh, I love these. So I pre-ordered them, and I'm glad I did because I think people are having a hard time getting them now.
Yeah, it is. They're going for. I gave Evan a pretty good deal, but they are going for a lot of cash. I mean, especially if you have the swap out helmets.
Yeah. And the other one, if you guys like McQuarrie stuff and you can find it, is Kotobukiya did for the 30th anniversary of Star Wars. They did a scene with the McQuarrie Vader and Luke Starkiller from that painting. And it's a whole diorama, the scene with the 2 statues and they're fighting.
I have that for sale.
Yeah, you have that, right?
Yeah, I have it for sale right now.
You have it for sale? Well, I love it. I picked one up. The guy who I had commissioned to do my Slave 1, he had one, and it was like still in the box, and he was just like, "I'm never going to display this. Do you want it?" And so I was able to get it. I love the scene, so it's great. And pairing it with the McQuarrie print makes it really,
Yeah.
It is a really nice piece. I wish it fit in the Besta because I would keep it, but it doesn't fit in the Besta. So now I'm like,
wait,
I don't have the boxes.
It doesn't fit in your Besta?
Not with my McQuarrie Vader helmet.
Oh, not with
to fit it with the helmet. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, I could put it in the front. Like, cool.
Yeah. No. Well, you have not. It won't fit in a Besta, but it might fit in a. Well, they don't make the Stuvas anymore. But
no.
But the Stuvas are 5 inches deeper than the Vestas, but the same size.
I know. I wish.
Yeah.
Anyways, I have it for sale. No box.
Well, you guys, if either of you guys like the McQuarrie stuff, it's a beautiful piece. I love it. So.
Yeah, I'm thinking about signing up for the membership. Because it's got a lot of perks. Basically, sign up for the membership, you get a free statue and other stuff. So, which is pretty cool.
I'm gonna sign up for it, get the McQuarrie, so that that's why I brought it up too, is because I want to put that in. Yeah,
that would look awesome.
Yeah, it's got the swap out portraits too. So
what's it made out of? Is it resin?
Yeah, it's resin.
Yeah, nice. That's Gentle Giant.
Yeah,
oh, no, Gentle. Okay.
Yeah. Here's another thing that's also releasing is the
today we're going
a C-3PO life-size statue, which looks great. But I did see I posted this in the group, and then some people, one person was saying that like it's too expensive, especially since it's not chromed. Do you guys feel like it should have been chromed?
Yes.
Well,
I don't like. Yeah.
But then you got to worry about flaking.
Well, yeah, but it just depends on what factory it comes out of, I guess.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
that's
right.
true.
But that's the thing. That's the thing I really didn't like about this when I saw it. I was just like, what's up with that paint job? I mean, it just looks like it almost looks like the plastic, like the action figure, like gold plastic, right?
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
Well, so
if they had chromed it, it would have been, chromed it and then weather over the chrome, just like they did with their busts. I know a lot of those busts are having flaking problems, but it would have been 100 times nicer. Yeah. In my opinion.
I think so too.
If you look at this one, right? So if you pause there for a second, if you look at it, so I was talking to another person today too. It looks like they sculpted it versus using like a 3PO reference, because if you look at his chest and waist, he's a little thicker than actual 3PO is in the movies. Also,
oh, is he?
Oh,
yeah,
like he's a little thicker, and then it just looks bronze. Yeah, it just looks bronze.
Yeah,
engineering's great on it.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that, I mean, it's a little complicated, but the fact that the eyes are wired to the base and you can plug it in, and then that way you can have it on a smart switch or whatever.
Yeah.
Because imagine going to have to, take off the head or turn on turn a switch on the back, and you get the remote control, which is really nice.
Oh, I thought you got a BMW with it.
I know.
almost.
And the thing too is that I love the light up feature and the sound effects, because it comes with like over 20. Oh wow, look at that! It's like a nice little.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
So you won't lose it.
Don't lose your keys.
Yeah, I mean, good engineering, like you said. Wish it was chrome, but I'm pretty sure it would cost more money.
What is the price tag on this? I didn't see it.
It's
8,500.
85. Okay.
Yeah. And mind you, I've always wanted like a life-size 3PO and R2D2, and also a life-size Boba Fett and
Vader and Stormtrooper. Slave Leia.
That's a whole different type of collecting at that point.
Yeah.
It's like, I definitely shouldn't be collecting Hot Toys if I'm collecting life-size statues and stuff. But obviously, is anybody interested in getting this, or only if you're gifted one?
I'd honestly, even if I were gifted it, there's something about it that I just don't like the paint job.
Yeah.
And for the space it'll take up. Well, okay, maybe if someone.
I was gonna say.
Okay.
Stop drinking, Joseph. Come on now. We're all gonna
Joseph,
take
what
this.
are you smoking, sir?
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you $9,000, sir. Nah, I don't want that.
But what I would really love is one of the busts. I don't have the sideshow bust.
Yes.
Yeah, I would love the bust too.
And there's a couple for sale I've seen, but they've all had flaking issues. So.
Yeah,
and it would drive me nuts. My OCD wouldn't allow me to have it.
Yeah,
I think that's probably why they didn't chrome it, because they didn't want to take a chance on it flaking and having return it and pay for shipping, and it just would be a hassle.
Yeah,
because to be honest, like I'm looking at this piece, I'm like, man, what happens if there's a scratch? Like, how do you replace that thing? You know, they can't be like the rep can't be like, hey, send it back, I will send you a new one. You're like, hell no.
Yeah. And it's
send me like the part. Nah, I'm not sending the whole thing back. Are you crazy?
Yeah, and they're having lots of problems with the factories in China right now, in terms of quality control. Mm-hmm. I have a friend who is who's one of the art directors over at Factory Entertainment, and he's telling me it's just been a total nightmare. Like, they will get an entire run of something, and there's like no quality control, and then they call the factory, and the factory's just like, okay, we'll just make you another 1,000. That's fine. Yeah. And one of those things was a chromed piece, and they had to toss like 80% of them because they were flaking and bubbling and all of that. So
that's crazy.
I'm sure that probably played a role in Sideshow's decision, but
yeah, I'm sure. Here's another one that is out too, and this is the Mythos Vader, which I just literally got today. When I come home,
nice.
When I came home today.
Yeah,
I'm like, yay!
It's a beautiful piece.
Yeah, I know some people had their issues with the flaming saber, but guess what? You don't have to display it with the flaming saber.
Yeah,
nope. I know.
Keep it in the box.
It's like, keep it in the box if you don't like it. But hey, it's supposed to be Mythos. It's supposed to kind of look different from anything you've seen before. I think it looks great. I know, Jeff, you are getting this still, correct?
Yeah, I am. I did almost cancel it though today to pick up with that other Mythos.
Oh, the other one.
Yeah, that other Mythos. By the way, Joseph, just for reference, there was a guy selling a Mythos, the first one, the Mythos Vader, for like $800 shipped or something like that.
Are you serious?
$850 shipped. I was
my
tempted.
God, dude!
I just spent way too much. I spent way too much money.
You should have
this month.
But
is it still available?
No, that thing was gone.
No.
Like,
I love that Mythos Vader. I think it's beautiful, but I don't have it.
You don't? I don't. Had you.
It's gonna be the one that I think I'm gonna keep that piece as the one that I always want, but never going to get.
I mean, but 800 was 850.
Oh, I know. Well, had I
that is 850 shipped.
I would have bought it, but
yeah,
had I seen that, I would have bought it. But
that is a steal of a price.
To be honest, if I didn't buy that NYC RS wedge helmet, I would have bought that.
I should have just bought it, man.
I literally just got that
Yeah.
Did I say NYC?
You said NYC.
You're
talking about the hyperdrive.
The hyperdrive. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Oh man.
So I paid for that today, and I'm like,
yeah.
Should have just not paid it.
But this is nice. I will say one thing that's been really disappointing to me about all the sideshow pieces that come out with lightsabers, and I don't know, maybe this is just me, but I think that having a light up saber, like an actual light up, like with the compact fluorescent tube that makes it really glow,
absolutely,
that adds so much to the piece. Now, look, I know sometimes they stop working, some people don't want them, but to me, like when they did their Grievous, had they done that Grievous with 4 light up compact fluorescents with all the colors, it would have made that statue like 1,000 times better.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the same with this. I mean, imagine if that lightsaber lit up.
They really missed it. I mean, they're making all their, I know it's Sideshow, but like Hot Toys is making all their light up LED sabers now.
Yep.
Get on board with this. Like, that makes such a difference.
But
and this thing lit up.
Yeah. When they do the light up feature with the LED in the hilt and the clear plastic, I don't like that. It has to be the compact fluorescent, because then it really looks like a lightsaber. I mean, it's glowing.
Right.
Yeah.
But I just have to say is that, like, man, look at this portrait. That was super duper sick.
PJ, how are you going to display it? Unmasked or?
Broken helmet.
Broken helmet. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. I might flip flop.
I like that both. Unmasked.
The unmasked looks good.
It does.
I think this is one of those statues too, where the Maul is the same way. Like you kind of, on other statues, you figure out which head sculpt you want, and then you put it on and you leave it and you put it back in the box. But like Maul, you actually pull the other head out, right? And leave.
Look at that.
So you can swap.
Yeah.
This is the same one. You have to leave this out.
Look at this. Like, that is just beautiful.
Yeah, it's good.
It's just like, it's funny because Brian Kuchar, I talk to him quite often. He's the guy that sculpted this, and he knows he was like, oh, you're gonna love the next one. You're gonna love the next one, and mind you, I love it. And the fact is that he actually sculpted like a broken version without even seeing Kenobi. Is like
that's insane.
That's insane, and it looks exactly like the Kenobi helmet.
Yeah, you think he used Rebels as reference, maybe?
Yeah, I think so. But Rebels is the other side.
Oh, was it cut on the? Okay.
Yeah, this one's on the left side. Rebels was on the right. I mean, mind you, yes, they're similar. You probably use like a mirror image or something.
Yeah, could have flipped it. Right,
guys. Excuse me for just a couple of minutes. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'm excited with this piece. I'm so happy I picked it up.
I'm ready for you to unbox it, do a video so I could get your thoughts on it.
Yeah.
Did you see the guy? Did you see the guy that lit up the back end of the flames? Like, he put some little tiny lights on the back, and it shines onto the flames, so it makes the flames look more orange.
Oh, really?
That was pretty good. Yeah.
You're talking about the flames on the base?
On the base.
Okay.
Yeah. He put some LEDs behind the statue and beamed them out through the.
Oh, that's
flames.
Cool.
It was kind of neat.
Yeah, I'm excited.
They did miss the mark with doing a light up saber, though.
Yeah,
they should. I know some collectors don't mind not having a light up saber, but
when you get them, you get spoiled.
Oh yeah, dude! Stop lying to yourselves, guys.
Yeah,
you guys know you want a light up feature. I mean, how could you not? It's a lightsaber.
I have my first light up saber coming from NYC.
Yeah.
So
it just adds like a lot more presence to the piece, So yeah. While we wait for Joseph to get back, probably gonna wrap it up pretty soon. But 2022, guys, in terms of Star Wars, we'll start off with Jeff. What do you think, man? How was your experience with Star Wars this year? Like, in terms of meeting new people and conventions and hanging out on live shows and the shows, the content, the collectibles. How would you rate your 2022, man?
As my lights just go out. I this year was amazing for me. Like I would have never thought to be on YouTube, period. Like I watched all your guys' shows from day one, and kind of just I enjoyed watching them. I enjoyed the content. So to be a part of the content now is actually really cool for me. And I've met so many great people over the last year. So it's, it's like we've all talked about, right? It's, you kind of sit in the office or sit in your own little space and you collect Star Wars and you kind of keep it contained. And then when you meet other people that love this as well, it's really special, right? So it's cool just to be able to like geek out and, rough week or a rough day and just have a forum to actually talk through it with people. So, it's been amazing for me. All the other stuff aside, like the Fed and all that other stuff, like it's been an amazing year. I loved 2022 for Star Wars. It's been really good.
Yeah. So. How about you, Sean?
Dude, I'm in the same boat with Jeff. Just meeting you guys, like me and PJ. I think I came on the show
last year.
It was probably November of
last year.
Yeah. So, but just getting to know PJ all year, like on a more of a personal level too, and not just Star Wars, like actually making a friend and someone where he could call me up anytime. I usually do when he texts me or calls, I just drop what I'm doing. I talk to him, within reason. And then just meeting you, Jeff, and just the whole community, and getting to go to ICC, because that was, it's not a huge con, but it was the first big con for me. I've never got a chance to go. We do local stuff, and that's not, it's nothing compared to the big stuff. And I know everyone tells me you got to go to Celebration, which if it comes to Orlando or Chicago or anywhere on the East Coast, I'm going because I've never been. That's on the bucket list. But even like I said, just going to ICC and meeting Nilda and meeting Michael, having Michael stop by and just everyone in the community. It's just like Jeff said, you got a bad day, you still got your Star Wars family, and then you feel like you're collecting all this stuff, and you usually do it for yourself because it's deep in your heart, but being able to share it, that's the best thing for this year. Because I had, Anthony, the BMX Jedi, he's my, my best friend, and we got to share that with each other. But now it's like, holy crap, this whole world with all these other people. And then it was nice picking the Chewie bust up too this year. That was
that's definitely a plus.
That's a close first.
Yes. That's definitely a memorable moment, especially since you got to share that with us. Live when you bought it like with Tom Spina on the show.
Having Tom on the show and bought it with him being on the show. And because I was like, I'm gonna do it. I was like, because I already had the money. I was like, I'm just gonna wait for him to come on and this, but and just the evolution of collecting, just learning about it. We've always collected my whole life, and then what was it, 6 or 7 years ago, got into Hot Toys, and now this year I took the leap where I'm done with Hot Toys, so I started moving into more prop replicas and one-to-one stuff, and then that's been fun. And then I keep telling my wife, well, I'm not collecting Hot Toys. She goes, it doesn't matter because now the stuff you're buying is more expensive.
That's right.
And I'm like, yeah, but it's not as much. So it adds up, because with Hot Toys being $300 and then you've got 10 of them on pre-order, there's $3,000. It's like,
you're absolutely right.
It's
and
true.
That's why it's hard to keep up. And that's just 10 figures. And they're pumping out more than 10 figures a year.
Oh yeah. Now you're going to get me with the OT stuff, of course, but I think I have one Hot Toy, that Jessie, on pre-order with Off the Racks, and that's it.
Yeah.
I got Bo-Katan this week. She's been sitting in my closet for a week. I haven't opened her. That just tells me, like, all right, you're done with that. You've smelled enough Hot Toys in your life. It's time. It's time.
Are you sure you?
It's time to move on. Yeah. But getting.
Well, I'm certainly cutting back on the Hot Toys just for the, larger and more impressive pieces that I think will really, that stand out, that you enjoy to look at. Speaking of, I'm sorry, I apologize for having to leave a little bit ago, but I had to go get in my order for the J&D.
Oh my God. Here I am. I'm like, guys, we got to wrap things up. Joseph has a baby. He's got.
Yeah, I thought he was off doing something.
Joseph was ordering collectibles. I love it. I love it.
That speaking of the evolution, right, of collectibles, their stuff has just been blowing me away. And I'm absolutely absolutely love, the incorporation of silicon and glass eyes and, all the stuff that they're doing now. It's very, very impressive.
Yeah. Well, while you're away buying J&D stuff, we were just talking about, like, our last question for tonight, last topic is, like, looking back in 2022, how would you rate your 2022 in terms of Star Wars, like in terms of the community, collecting, content, just overall Star Wars this year?
Well, I will say that the best part of collecting has been being part of this community and getting to know all of you.
Yes.
I mean, I've made such great relationships, friendships with people through this, whether it's just other collectors or the people who make, the makers out there that I can collaborate with. That's by far the best. And having the opportunity this last year to go to Celebration and San Diego Comic-Con, and I got to go to Wonderfest, which I know you guys probably don't know what that is, but that's the big model makers convention. And I got to spend my time there I got to meet Nicholas Meyer, my idol who wrote and directed Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan.
Oh, okay.
I got to hang out, and now I'm friends with Bill George, who has been with ILM since Empire, who made the original models, like the medical frigate and some of those things. Just amazing relationships with people.
Yep.
And I've absolutely loved every second of it. I hope that I can continue to do that in 2023 and get to know even more people and spend time with the friends that I've made. That's been the most fantastic part of this.
Yeah, it's exciting to get new things, but to be able to share it with others is even more exciting.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's the truth.
Yeah.
So I'm I'm thrilled. I got to meet you this year, PJ, and and got to spend that time with you. I hope we can all get together in the near future.
Absolutely. That's the plan.
That's definitely the plan. I'm with you guys. I feel like the theme is that, like, the community and just making new friends in the Star Wars collecting world and just the Star Wars world in general. Before I did the YouTube thing or just even started becoming part of the community, I just kind of collected by myself. It's kind of lonely, especially when you don't have friends or family that, like, appreciate the same things that you do, or notice the same same things
or who just think you're crazy.
They're like,
like
Queel. Is his name Queel or Queef? What's going on here? But, it's just one of those things where this year for me, I even told Sean, like, I wasn't sure how Celebration was going to be. I mean, because I was just going to go there, get the things I needed, and be in and out, and just do some filming, whatever, for my channel or for a sitcast. And to be honest, like, I didn't expect to have such a great time with David, with Gabe, with Joseph, with so many people, Lee, and it was just such, when everything else becomes secondary and, like, the friends that you make become primary, you're like, whoa, what is this? Like, this is a cool feeling. Sean's been my co-host for over a year now. We became really good friends. And we got to know each other on the personal level. We got to know Jeff too. Jeff's been a great supporter of the channel, and also one of the regulars that come on our show. And Nilda, I can't wait to meet her in person. She said she's got she's very busy now, but she'll be back stronger than ever for next year. So looking forward to having her on more.
Yes.
The content was there. Kenobi was a little disappointing. Kenobi, Book of Boba, Andor, great shows, great content, a lot of stuff for us to talk about. The collectibles are always going to be there. The evolution of collecting. I still can't believe I'm, like, trying to move past Hot Toys collecting now. I thought the day would never come. Don't get me wrong, I'm still gonna pick up things here and there. I'm not completely out, but I'm not completely in like I was before. Just because I think I'm appreciating like the bigger pieces, the more intricate pieces, the prop replicas and stuff like that. So, but most importantly is the friends. And you know what's crazy is that meeting Eben. Eben's such a great guy. I met him in Florida. We had a couple drinks. It was hot, and I was just like, whoa. but it's crazy because we all come from different walks of life, right? In terms of our occupation and what we do for a living, and the fact that Star Wars can bring us together, and we all like feel like we've known each other for such a long time is such like a magical thing. It's like the Force is like working its way to making us closer together, and I'm just very happy. David, oh my gosh, I didn't even know David like worked on all these things. Like he's just like when we met him, he's such a humble, humble guy, and just so super cool, super chill. Gabe and Michael, it's just such a
and the thing I do like we all kind of know each other. Like today's the first day I've actually got to speak with Joseph. We know of each other in the community, but we never spoke. But I guarantee you, if any of you guys or anyone in the chat, like if we see each other in person, it's gonna like I've known you forever.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we have
that's
that
how
comment.
It felt. That's how it felt when we were at Celebration.
It's awesome.
And a lot of us got to meet each other for the first time. Like I was friends with Michael Michael Haas for a very long time, and then got to meet for the first time. Same with David. Same with Lee. So I mean, and we had this fantastic time there.
Yeah, I met Michael at ICC for the first time, and we were in the con, and we were waiting for him to pull up because we had passes. We were going to get him in. He walks up. I'm like, Michael, walk up. I just give him a big old hug, like I've known him forever. I told PJ and Jeff too. It's like when I see you guys, I'm a hugger, so you're gonna get a hug because I love you. It's like
that was the thing. Yeah, that was
Sean.
the thing.
Is that a lightsaber in your pocket? No,
and it's not Yoda's either.
This year was kind of emotional for me too because I actually went to Galaxy's Edge for the first time because I was going to go before COVID, but I'm glad things happened the way it did because I was able to go there with Evan and Jason with J2SO, and it was like that was the first time I've met them right face to face, and we had an amazing day, and it was like the only thing like your family can't understand, like they understand that you love it, right? But like to experience it with the people that you've been on YouTube with for a full year, it's special, right?
Exactly.
So,
they'll never understand how it's ingrained in your DNA as a child.
Yeah.
What I mean, it deep down inside, it like molds you as a person. Like your love for it, you never let it go. You might leave it for a few years because you're going through with girls and all this, but then you like I always collected in the background, and you wouldn't want to tell anyone,
Exactly.
I mean, I rode BMX for almost 30 years. It's like, and I didn't really say, oh dude, I'm a Star Wars collector. We had one guy that he's a big time collector. He would always go over to Tunisia and like he would bring all the parts from like he was heavily into it. So that was the one person when we we'd see him maybe once or twice a year doing shows, and we'd finally like, oh dude, did you see this? And like you'd sit there all day and just geek out because you finally had someone to share it with. And now we have all you guys, and it's fantastic.
Right.
So I'm looking forward to 2023 and getting to know everyone just a little bit better. And with PJ, to keep trying to get him to come down here to Myrtle Beach to hang out before ICC.
Yeah, I'm trying to. I think it will happen sooner than later. So,
but I know Jeff's got hotel and everything for the Tennessee con, so definitely going to meet him there. Hopefully, Jason comes, and
that's
what I really look forward to.
Shout out to Jason, who is a Jar Jar Binks fan. I can't wait to wear that Jar Jar Binks T-shirt together. That'll be. Oh, by the way, shout out to Flex too. Got to meet him in person. It's just such a great community, man. So much great love, and I'm very happy. I'm just so happy to meet, and talk to everybody here. And I'm looking forward to 2023 and doing it again. So hopefully, it could happen more often than usual. And that's why we do these shows, right? We don't get paid, we don't get like, sponsored. Well, we get sponsored to do giveaways and stuff, but in the most part, we don't get paid. We're not making YouTube, Mr. Beast money here. We're just doing it for the love of Star Wars and just to hang out with like-minded collectors and Star Wars fans.
Yeah.
And and it's just so funny how Star Wars works. No one else outside of Star Wars. There's no money on this. There's money involved. You spending a lot of money.
Yeah,
that's how it works. Yeah.
We're giving the money away. That's the
But no. Hey, barbecue at PJ's. Yeah, no, seriously. Hopefully one day I could organize some sort of barbecue, and you guys could come over and I have a hot tub, so if you guys want to like hop in, make sure you wear Jar Jar Binks Speedos.
And I am not crossing lightsabers.
No crossing lightsaber. By the way, Jeff, I knew I was gonna freaking hate looking at your chair, man. Congratulations on that.
Congrats.
By the way, it's cool that it's magnet.
Spinning around. Yeah,
it's so good.
I hope you're wearing pants. By the way, okay, yeah, you are.
Oh, jeez.
Lightsabers out.
Yeah, I love the fact that the pillow is magnetic.
Yeah, that's really cool.
That thing looks good.
That's
that looks sick, Jeff. Congratulations.
Nice.
How do you like? It's comfortable, right?
That's cool.
Oh, it's awesome. Yeah.
Right.
I would, PJ, if you haven't, I would order the armrest, the extra cushy armrests.
Oh yeah. I placed the extra order for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
it's so comfortable. I think I'm gonna get the Vader one and put it in the front of the room so that I can
snap.
Games.
Nice.
My chair comes next week, I think. I got the Regal Robot Emperor's Throne.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, so that was supposed to be here this week, but she's like, no, they're closed and the freight can't pick it up. So I got to wait till next week. Yeah, I'm excited.
I can't wait for you to sit on that throne chair. That's going to be such an epic piece. Yeah. So I know Joseph has a newborn baby. Congratulations, Joseph.
Yep, thank you so much.
Don't want to hold you up any longer. Thank you for hopping on the show, dude.
Thank you for having.
We got to.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we have to have you on again, man.
Oh, of course.
I'll
dude, I could have talked.
We could talk. 2 hours. Honestly, I thought we were going for 3 hours tonight, and I was good with it.
I definitely want to do this again, and when I'm less pressured for time. My wife just texted me. She's like, all of our family is here, and they're all upstairs waiting for you. When are you going to be finished?
We won't hold you up anymore.
But next time I'll send some pictures of some stuff so we can.
We can definitely.
Okay.
Yeah,
there's a lot of stuff that came in 2022 that one of a kind stuff that you guys will probably get a real kick out of.
Oh, nice.
And for 2023, there's definitely some other. There's a functional Rocketeer jetpack coming. So.
Oh shit!
You guys are gonna. Yeah, I mean, if any of you are interested in that, that's gonna be mind blowing.
Well,
yeah, that's cool.
You tell me when. Joseph, you have an open invitation. You're more than welcome to come on anytime.
Okay.
So,
thank you so much.
Yeah, man,
with that being
said,
I just want to wish everyone in the chat a happy, healthy 2023. Thank you guys for making 2022 successful for Sithcast. I want to wish Happy New Year to Jeff and the rest of the Spice Runners Lounge crew.
Yep.
Eben and everyone there. And Sean, man,
another year in the books.
Another year in the books.
There you go.
I want to wish everyone Happy New Year and may the midichlorians be with you guys always and forever. Hopefully, I picked the right one. Take care, everyone. We'll be back next year.
See ya.
Strike me down with all of your hatred, and your journey towards the dark side will be complete.